Hi everybody. In this part, we will talk about the history of the appearance of homosexuals. Before starting, I ask you, as usual, to subscribe, put your finger up and write something in the comments, and we will begin. Gay is a term that primarily refers to a homosexual person or the trait of being homosexual. The term originally meant carefree, cheerful, or bright and showy. While scant usage referring to male homosexuality dates to the late 19th century, that meaning became increasingly common by the mid-20th century, too. In modern English, gay has come to be used as an adjective and as a noun, referring to the community, practices and cultures associated with homosexuality. In the 1960s, gay became the word favored by homosexual men to describe their sexual orientation. By the end of the 20th century and beginning of the 21st century, the word gay was recommended by major LGBT groups and style guides to describe people attracted to members of the same sex, although it is more commonly used to refer specifically to men. At about the same time, a new, pejorative use became prevalent in some parts of the world. Among younger speakers, the word has a meaning ranging from derision, example, equivalent to rubbish or stupid, to a lighthearted mockery or ridicule, example, equivalent to weak, unmanly, or lame. The extent to which these usages still retain connotations of homosexuality has been debated and harshly criticized. The word gay arrived in English during the 12th century from Old French guy, most likely deriving ultimately from a Germanic source. In English, the word's primary meaning was joyful, carefree, bright and showy, and the word was very commonly used with this meaning in speech and literature. For example, the optimistic 1890s are still often referred to as the gay 90s. The title of the 1938 French ballet Gaieté Parisienne, Parisian Gaiety, which became the 1941 Warner Brothers movie, The Gay Parisian, also illustrates this connotation. It was apparently not until the 20th century that the word began to be used to mean specifically homosexual, although it had earlier acquired sexual connotations. The derived abstract noun gaiety remains largely free of sexual connotations and has, in the past, been used in the names of places of entertainment, such as the Gaiety Theatre in Dublin. The word may have started to acquire associations of immorality as early as the 14th century, but had certainly acquired them by the 17th. By the late 17th century, it had acquired the specific meaning of addicted to pleasures and dissipations, an extension of its primary meaning of carefree implying uninhibited by moral constraints. A gay woman was a prostitute, a gay man a womanizer, and a gay house a brothel. An example is a letter read to a London court in 1885 during the prosecution of brothel madam and procuress Mary Jeffreys that had been written by a girl while enslaved inside of a French brothel. I write to tell you it is a gay house. Some captains came in the other night, and the mistress wanted us to sleep with them. The use of gay to mean homosexual was often an extension of its application to prostitution. A gay boy was a young man or boy serving male clients. Similarly, a gay cat was a young male apprentice to an older hobo and commonly exchanging sex and other services for protection and tutelage. The application to homosexuality was also an extension of the word's sexualized connotation of carefree and uninhibited, which implied a willingness to disregard conventional or respectable sexual mores. Such usage, documented as early as the 1920s, was likely present before the 20th century, although it was initially more commonly used to imply heterosexually unconstrained lifestyles, as in the once common phrase gay Lothario, or in the title of the book and film The Gay Falcon, 1941, which concerns a womanizing detective whose first name is Gay. Similarly, Fred Gilbert and G.H. McDermott's music hall song of the 1880s, Charlie Dilkey Upset the Milk, Master Dilkey Upset the Milk, when taking it home to Chelsea, the papers say that Charlie's gay, rather a willful wag, referred to Sir Charles Dilkey's alleged heterosexual impropriety. Giving testimony in court in 1889, the prostitute John Saul stated, "I occasionally do odd jobs for different gay people." Well into the mid-20th century, a middle-aged bachelor could be described as gay, indicating that he was unattached and therefore free, without any implication of homosexuality. This usage could apply to women too. The British comic strip Jane, first published in the 1930s, described the adventures of Jane Gay. Far from implying homosexuality, it referred to her freewheeling lifestyle with plenty of boyfriends, while also punning on Lady Jane Grey. A passage from Gertrude Stein's Miss Fur and Miss Skeen, 1922, is possibly the first traceable published use of the word to refer to a homosexual relationship. According to Linda Wagner Martin, Favored Strangers, Gertrude Stein and Her Family, 1995, the portrait featured the sly repetition of the word gay, used with sexual intent for one of the first times in linguistic history, and Edmund Wilson, 1951, quoted by James Mello in Charmed Circle, 1974, agreed. For example, they were gay, they learned little things that are things in being gay, they were quite regularly gay. Gertrude Stein, 1922. The word continued to be used with the dominant meaning of carefree, as evidenced by the title of The Gay Divorcee, 1934, a musical film about a heterosexual couple. Bringing Up Baby, 1938, was the first film to use the word gay in an apparent reference to homosexuality. In a scene in which Cary Grant's character's clothes have been sent to the cleaners, he is forced to wear a woman's feather-trimmed robe. When another character asks about his robe, he responds, "Because I just went gay all of a sudden." Since this was a mainstream film at a time when the use of the word to refer to cross-dressing, and, by extension, homosexuality, would still be unfamiliar to most filmgoers, the line can also be interpreted to mean, "I just decided to do something frivolous." In 1950, the earliest reference found to date for the word gay as a self-described name for homosexuals came from Alfred A. Gross, executive secretary for the George W. Henry Foundation, who said in the June 1950 issue of SIR magazine, "I have yet to meet a happy homosexual. They have a way of describing themselves as gay, but the term is a misnomer. Those who are habitués of the bars frequented by others of the kind are about the saddest people I've ever seen." Thank you for listening to the first part. If you liked it, put your finger up and subscribe.